Am I starting this one, or are you starting this one? Because this is a we didn't really define
Well, you
who's
can
up.
please you go ahead and do it. You take the
Oh,
honor.
all right.
Unless you want to pass it. Whatever you want to do, I'm good with.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the Zeitgeist Lab Collections podcast. I like the rhythm of that one.
Collections
It
podcast.
was very choppy. It was very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of thing. Wasn't really wasn't really prepared for that one. Yeah, so this is a very special episode of the podcast. As you might know, or I don't know when we're going to announce this. We haven't talked about it yet, but I guess if you're hearing this now, we're going to be going away for, I guess, the rest of the year. We haven't really talked about that either. But yeah, this is a bit of a farewell episode for the podcast. We're going to be taking a hiatus before season 5. No, we don't know what the next season is going to be. We're still going to be doing the podcast, of course, and you'll be hearing from us once a month with our old pal Jordan. So no worries there. But yeah, Alex is pretty much just really busy, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much the long and the short of it, I think, as far as I know. So yeah, I wouldn't look at it as us going away so much as you won't be hearing from us in podcast form once a week for the time being. But as you know, we've been very consistent with our vlog. If you're a Patreon person, and so long as no one hires me, because I'm a straight white man, I will be continuing to do vlogs on the regular. So yeah, if keep looking out for those. So yeah, I decided rather that we should do a farewell episode just to send off, season 4, in this era of the podcast, just in a proper fashion. I figured we owe it to our Grundle. So yeah, we're just gonna have I guess a free form episode here. I have a couple of things I want to talk about, but other than that, just strap in for just a bit of a goodbye episode for now.
And my name's Alex.
Yeah, my name is Brian, and that's Alex. So, Alex, how are you doing tonight? Sorry for the long introduction. Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Anything you want to add?
I know I don't.
A little bit. I didn't mean to do that.
No. I think the only thing I would say is my thought, and maybe we'll decide something off mic, and so maybe that'll completely upend this. But you had mentioned as well anyway. My thought was that this would serve as the official announcement on our extended hiatus, along with a Twitter post when this episode drops. But that was my thought. But certainly, I'm open to other thoughts. Like you said, we haven't really discussed it, so I have no idea what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, I'll probably announce it with the episode when the episode comes out. And that makes the most sense to me.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to open an
Arizona iced tea. Nice.
Yeah, Arizona Grapeade.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Arizonas.
The only one I like is Mucho Mango. Oh, that's not true. I like the Southern Sweet Tea as well, but those are really the only two I like.
Yeah, I love Arizona across the board for the most part. Everything I've tried from them. I thought about getting the Mucho Mango because I saw it at the store today, and I saw the front of it, the can, and I thought it was a peach for a second. I was like, oh, okay. And I said mango, and I was like,
You've never tried it?
Mango. And I was like, oh, no, Mucho Mango. Hell no, that's a stupid name, so I'm not going to get that.
They're really good. I'm surprised you haven't had that one because we used to sell a shit out of that one when I managed a Walgreens here in Utah.
Walgreens?
Yeah, and I feel like that was like one of our most popular Arizona iced teas, and this was 8 or 9 years ago. So I'm surprised you've never tried that one.
Maybe I'll try it next. I don't know.
Maybe.
You managing a Walgreens, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, yeah.
In what way?
I don't know. You just kind of look like you'd manage a Walgreens, like in the photo department.
The photo. Okay. All right.
Like, yeah, you look like you work in the photo department in the Walgreens.
Great. All right then.
I think that's kind of high up in the Walgreens hierarchy, so that could be a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, I've no qualms with what department you think I would work in. I mean, I manage the whole store. Like, sorry, to be completely transparent, I was the assistant manager, but I had a lot of free reign to kind of do my thing. So I managed the photo department for sure. So.
All right, like when did you do that? Like what era?
I worked there from 2009 to 2013.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the things I wanted to do, I guess no, we'll get this out. We'll get this out of the way. So I just sent you a link.
Before we get, so I don't know, we're on Podbean, and we're like at the lowest paid tier Podbean, so I have no idea how many people actually finish the episode or how far they get. So if we get too far, I did also just want to add to your announcement or your, your thoughts that while we're not going to be doing the weekly pod for the time being, we're going to extend hiatus. We still have the monthly CanCon episodes with Jordan, like you mentioned, and the vlog, which again is on our Patreon. But I just want to say that part of this this hiatus is that we will be kind of increasing the amount of content behind the paywall. And if you didn't catch our tweet about it a few weeks ago, we've got new tiers. You can get behind the paywall for as little as $1. And if you're willing to pay $5, you get access to our vlog, which we just started. I want to say within the last 2 weeks, we already have like 4.5 hours of content up there. So if you're missing the content, it's there. You just have to pay a little bit of money for it. But head on over to patreon.com/ZGLabPod and check out all our new offerings.
It's cheaper than a gallon of gas.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and 3.5 of those hours is Fintuzler content. So if you like that, then
you do post long videos. I'm surprised at how long you can stretch one of these things out. Mine are definitely more bite sized. Mine, I think my longest one is like 9 minutes.
Yeah, my longest one's about an hour, I think, and some change. Yeah.
Now I do have a question for you because I've watched some of yours. I'll admit that I do. I mean, like you said, I'm busy. Part of the reason for the extended hiatus, so I don't exactly have time to watch, hour-long videos by you, but I'll watch, parts. I'll just kind of skim through it and whatever. But I was wondering, why do you not appear in your vlogs?
Very self-conscious about the way I look, and especially when speaking. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like looking at myself.
Gotcha. I didn't know that because we record via video and you're always visible when we record. So that's why, like that, your first vlog video was like just 2.5 minutes and you weren't in. And I was like, it seems like he's just testing it out. The literal name of the video was like Brian tries to make a video. But then all of the other ones have also like not featured you. So I was just curious as to why it was, why you didn't appear in the vlogs.
Yeah, no, I think it's because I just simply don't like looking at myself.
Okay, all right.
Excuse me. Yeah. And then another thing I noticed since I just burped, that's another thing I'll do on camera a lot is burp.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really having a lot of fun with them. Mm-hmm. I was initially really bummed and kind of a little depressed by like the oncoming hiatus.
Uh-huh.
Or the upcoming hiatus. I don't know why I said oncoming hiatus. But yeah, because I felt like that's been that's been filling a bit of a void for me. But ever since we started the vlog, I've been pretty stoked about the vlog, and that I feel like that's going to fit that void.
Yeah, you've had some really good ideas so far as well. Like I feel like I've struggled. Some of mine are like easily throwaway garbage vlogs. But yours, like you've come with actual ideas where I feel like I'm just kind of turning on the camera and like going, let's see what happens. But you have actual agendas for your vlogs thus far. Yeah,
if like it's been really good for like if something happens all of a sudden and I really need to like kind of talk it out and think it through. Like I said in the video, kind of just replaced a journal and
yeah.
And yeah, Like I had to delete someone from Facebook recently, and I talked about that for about a half hour on a vlog.
You know what it reminded me of? I don't know why, but I was thinking about this the other day because like I've been recording some and you've been recording some, and I wasn't initially expecting you to. Like, I'm glad you are, but like when I first pitched the idea of the vlog, you're like, oh, what is that? And then like when I first posted it, I like explained to you how to post it. You're like, I don't think I'm going to understand this. So like I was surprised that you started posting as many shit, but it's been really cool. But I was like, oh, it's kind of like when Outkast did like Speaker Box and Love Below, right? Like they put out 2 individual albums, but still under the Outkast name. It's like we're doing our own individual thing for our listeners without having to wait on the other one, right?
Yeah, I feel like the Andre 3000.
You can have whichever one you want, whoever you prefer to be. Sure.
Yeah, I feel like the Andre 3000
Okay.
in the group because I feel like let's say the vlogs are solo material, and like I said, I was initially skeptical of it, and Andre 3000 doesn't have any solo material. Or that much. Right. He never made a full-length album by himself. Unless you count Speaker Box Level Low, which most people don't.
Right.
So I was just thinking of it in the sense that I'm like a dad who was against getting a cat. And then we get the cat, and I meet the cat, and I love the cat.
Okay.
I can't stop playing with the cat.
Now, see, it's funny because I never picked up that you were against it. I just picked up that you were unsure of it.
Yeah, that's more. I wasn't against it, but like, just to make the analogy work, let's say I was against it.
Okay. And another thing I'm excited about, because we did get one Patreon at this level, I'm excited for us to do a quarterly newsletter. So one over the summer. I think that will be interesting. I'm interested to see how that plays out and what that looks like. So seriously, patreon.com/ZGLabPod. Give us your money. We promise it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I've been using it to kind of just finally unpack my my records and my tapes. So I've been showing off my record collection, and I showed off my entire tape collection over the course of 2 videos. That took like an hour and a half to make. I showed a bunch of records and talked about those, and I still have a shit ton more records to unpack and talk about. So be on the lookout for that. So it's been a really cool thing to have, the vlog.
Well, I promised, because like I pretty much wrote the entire new structure for the Patreon, and I said, well, 2 vlogs a month, because I just want to make sure we weren't overextending ourselves. But like we've like I said, 2 to 3 weeks, and we've done 17 posts, so I think we'll have no problem hitting that two a month mark.
Yeah, I even forgot about that it was supposed to be 2 a month, but yeah, so be on the lookout for that. But I guess now that we got that out of the way, let's. I just want to get this other thing out of the way here.
Okay.
I'll send you that link.
Okay, let me pull it up. Do I need to share video?
You could, yeah, if you want.
Okay, let me get this in a new window. And then share screen.
But yeah, while Alex is doing that, I'll introduce this video content here. This isn't really anything special. I as our audience knows, and as Alex knows, I've been going down some deep music rabbit holes lately, and kind of tweeting endlessly about what I've been listening to lately, and the majority of it's like power violence and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just been really kind of looking down these weird music rabbit holes, and I discovered this band recently called Chulo, who happened to be from Alex's the city of Alex's birth. So
Bogota, Colombia?
Yeah, this band is called Chulo. Not to be confused with the Chicago band Kulo, who I love.
Well, that was my immediate thought. I was like, gosh, that sounds a lot like Chicago power violence band Kulo, so I'm glad that you cleared that up for me.
No, they're not a power violence band. They're a fast hardcore band. But
that's what I meant too. Yeah, my bad.
Shut up. The difference, I promise. And yeah, so I was just kind of looking for other just power violence and grindcore and other subgenres that actually do mean something. I promise.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think it would be a proper farewell for now if I didn't push back or question you. What is the difference between grindcore and power violence? First of all, what are either of them? Because these are words I know of strictly because I follow us on Twitter, I guess, but I don't know what power violence is or what grindcore is.
Yeah, I'll get really deep into it really quick.
Okay.
So there's power violence, there's grindcore, there's fastcore, there's gore grind, and power violence and grindcore. I think kind of both come from the hardcore genre.
Okay.
Gore grind is more metal influenced, and power violence is more hardcore and punk influenced. Hardcore power violence doesn't have nearly as many metal influences, and but we'll have and then the difference between power violence and fastcore is that power violence will often have a slow, sludgy part that lasts like towards the end of the song that'll last like maybe 10 seconds. And fastcore doesn't. Fastcore is just really spastic, just like hardcore, like unrelenting hardcore.
Okay.
With like blast beats and stuff like that. And then gore grind is a subgenre of grindcore, which is just features. It's even more fast and has a lot more gory lyrics and lyrical content and stuff like that. So
gotcha.
It all kind of sounds. And then there's another subgenre called mince grind, which I'm not going to get into. That's like a whole thing. But yeah, so I've been looking for all these kind of subgenres and stuff. I've been like discovering a lot of cool stuff lately. And this band, yeah, Chulo, happens to be from the city and country of Alex's birth. So I figured we'd go check them out on the podcast just for the hell of it.
Okay, so this is Chulo.
There you go.
See,
we can listen to as much as you want to tolerate with that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can go back to it throughout the episode. I'm just like it baffles me. I just can't get my head around that people find this to be a pleasing kind of music. Can you explain to me what pleases your ear about this?
Yeah, I just really like the sheer intensity in which everyone kind of plays their parts.
Okay.
I think that's really impressive. Yeah, I don't know. It awakens something in my head that I just really just find pleasurable. I don't know. I can't really explain it. I just think the intensity is really cool. I think it's really cool that there's music out there that is like that extreme. I guess is kind of pushing limits and boundaries of what you can do with like I guess like guitar music or whatever.
So what emotion does it, or maybe emotion is not the right word, but like what reaction does it elicit in you? Like, does it make you want to be violent? I don't mean like violent to like hit someone, but like make kind of go crazy or destroy some shit, or like does it elicit some sort of reaction in you? You said it like elicits, in your head something that makes, make, like you just like it, but like is it, to me, because when I hear this I think, oh shit, I should be like fucking destroying something.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just it excites me that more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I think it's very exciting, and I don't know. I don't really think about it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really question why I like it. It's just I don't know. It's just what I like, I guess.
And how do you determine that you like something like that? Because I mean, we've talked extensively about where your sensibilities were when you were in middle school, high school, much like mine were. but at some point we forked, which is fine. But I just wonder, like, how do you get into that? Because especially we talked like in our both in one of our Patreon episodes and in the Slipknot episode, like at one point you were scared of them and you thought this was like the most intense shit, but then eventually you get into it. And I'm not saying that this sounds anything like Slipknot, but how do you, coming from your background, how do you find this and then get into it?
I think what happened with like power violence and stuff actually was that I first started listening to like hardcore, like hardcore music and punk music, and that's what I liked throughout high school, especially towards the end of high school, my last 2 years of high school, and I was getting into like bands like Modern Life is War and Half Heart, who are more kind of mid-tempo hardcore bands, but then I had met my friend, who I've mentioned before, many times, Juggalo Max. I met through Craigslist of all places because he posted an ad saying he was a vocalist who wanted to start a hardcore band, and excuse me, and I responded to it because I was playing guitar at the time. And I was like, hey, I like a lot of the bands you listed as influences. Let's meet up and talk and stuff like that and try to get something off the ground. And we never did, but we never stopped hanging out and talking about music and stuff.
Gotcha.
He started getting into power violence and like grindcore and like death metal and stuff like that. Well, I was still listening to a lot of hardcore and like then started getting into a lot of like screamo and scrams and 90s emo and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he showed me like power violence, and because his high school friends played in that band SFN that I've talked about before, and so he showed me them, and they eventually got into the band formed after SFN broke up, Mellow Harsher, and became pals with those guys, and basically spent most of my 20s just getting drunk and seeing Mellow Harsher and just more of the power violence and grindcore scene.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it started out as kind of like a social thing, I guess, but then it was so, it's derived from music that I already liked, so it was kind of natural that I got into it anyway. So.
Gotcha. Okay, let's listen to another minute of this, and then we'll move on.
Okay. I like the idea of them soundtracking.
What?
I was just saying I like the idea of them soundtracking this episode.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can see the value in it. It's not something I would find myself listening to, but it's like I don't find it appalling or stupid. It's not my thing. But like, especially like with the headphones on and with my eyes closed, like I can see, and the context of what you said, like I can see what you mean. It's not going to be my thing ever, but I don't think it's inherently bad or dumb or not. There's not talent there.
Yeah, well, I have news for you, buddy. Power violence is actually coded language for embarrassment.
Ah, I knew it.
Go to the Wikipedia, that's what it will say. Didn't you actually change the new metal Wikipedia to the definition of it being embarrassing or something?
I did, and they it reverts automatically, and then I do it again, and it reverts automatically, and then I get a message from a reviewer that's like, "This isn't a valid change or whatever."
Nice. But speaking of Wikipedia, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Were you going to say something? Or
I was just going to say that technically for 3 different sets of 5 to 10 seconds, the official Wikipedia of nu metal did say that nu metal was just coded language for embarrassment.
Wait, for how long?
like 5 seconds each, 3 separate times. So
Yeah.
15 seconds of the history of the internet. Nu metal was listed as codified language for embarrassment. So I did it.
Yeah, it's a big accomplishment. Speaking of Wikipedia, though, I got my high school's IP address blocked from editing or creating Wikipedia because me and my friends would go into the computer lab whenever we had the chance and then write or create Wikipedia articles about our classmates and ourselves.
Nice.
Like, I would create one for someone I didn't like, and I'd say, so and so is a piece of shit from such and such.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good time. And then another time we found, or I think I found, I went to briancole.com just to see what was there.
Okay.
If someone had taken it already, and it was taken by someone named Brian D. Cole, but he was using briancole.com as the URL.
Gotcha.
And it was just it was a very like primitive looking website that had like a guest book and everything, like, early websites.
Oh, I remember that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it was essentially like a Facebook page or like a MySpace page, like, where he basically like just crafted this little shitty website that was like tailored to like getting to know him, like and it's just like vacation photography on it and stuff like that, all the things that would be on a Facebook essentially.
Interesting.
And I signed his guest book and I was like, you took my name, you fucking asshole. Your website is just MySpace. Have you heard of MySpace? Just get one of those instead. You didn't have to make a whole website. And then
what did he
all
say?
my other friends like signed his guest book saying, you stole my name. You stole my name.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like we were going to, or we planned on essentially using a lot of this episode to talk about each other's Twitter presence. So my first question is, what do you think of my little music reviews I've been doing lately? I'm really excited about them. I think they're extremely fun. I don't know if you keep up with them or not, or I don't even know if you actually read them or anything like that.
So we're talking about the tweets, not necessarily like your most recent vlog or anything like that.
No, nothing. No. We're sticking entirely to Twitter now.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I see them. So, yeah, I see them, I guess is all I would say. I don't listen to these bands. I know I'm not going to. I have no problems with them. My main issue is the potentiality. Well, I mean, I guess most of these bands you're talking about you like, but I always wonder about...
I never read anything I dislike. So
right. Because I guess just more in the vein of you critiquing music at all, wherever it is, I just wonder about sometimes your willingness to speak with authority when you don't have like the context. And specifically what I'm talking about is like the authority you spoke with when we talked about like Taylor's version, how, well, that's stupid, she didn't write the songs or whatever, and I'm trying to explain like what it actually means by Taylor's version. You're just like, I don't want to know about any of that. But if you're actually saying you like these bands, which it seems like most of your reviews are, then I guess I don't have like zero issues with it.
Okay, but yeah, do you ever read them or anything? Like,
I mean, I read pretty much all her tweets. I don't really know what to make of them.
Yeah, I just think it's really fun. I don't know. And then people in the bands have, I guess, because I never at anyone when I tweet at all. But people, I guess, search their band on Twitter and stuff, and a couple of them have like liked and retweeted them and stuff like that. So that's been kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't feel like slowing down anytime soon though. I do. Okay, so like, I mean, I do use our Twitter to talk shit about bands, and actually, I did quote tweet a band directly and said, I don't know anyone that actually likes this band. And luckily they didn't respond to it. But
I guess I missed that one. That's not ringing any bells.
Yeah, no, there's a band called The Armed who are not very good at all.
Okay.
But I've never met anyone that likes them, but they get an insane amount of media coverage and press, like every time they put out a record. And music journalists love that band for some reason because they write about them constantly. And I see them on all these like year-end lists from like publications and stuff.
Okay.
But I've never met a fan of that band. I've never met anyone like, And that's why I tweeted that. I was like, this band has to be a psyop because I've never met anyone that listens to them. And I wrote in parentheses, music journalists don't count as people.
That sounds familiar now. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. I guess I just didn't pay attention to what band. Because again, you're usually tweeting about bands I've never heard of and know I have no interest in. So like, I'll read the tweet, but I never like search out the context of it, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah.
I just want to say that I'm very impressed that you put so much thought into what you're going to tweet about or what your various themes or motifs are. Because I literally just like, I'll tweet anything. And then especially when I see that it bothers even one person, I just like double down on continuing to tweet about that over and over again. Yeah, exactly. But I never I don't think about what I'm tweeting to begin with. I'm just like, I don't know, Stranger Things. And then like people get like, they're confused, or like I get no engagement, so I'm like, well, this must suck, so I'm going to prove that it does or doesn't suck. I don't know what the end goal is, right? I just like keep spinning my wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really. I if I do have an idea for a tweet, I definitely will. Yeah, I guess it's a good observation on your part that I didn't really consider. Is that I do actually think about what I'm going to tweet before I do tweet it. Most of the time, like, for example, today I was like in the grocery store and in the Uber on the way back from the grocery store, I was like, oh, this would be a good idea for a tweet. And then I kind of composed the exact wording in my head and I was like, okay, I'm going to tweet that when I get home. And I did. And that was my tweet where I said today, how to monetize tweeting or talking about power violence. Right. And then follow up tweet. Oh shit, this isn't Google.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I'm doing my reviews, I make sure I want to know what I'm going to say before I tweet that. Like, usually when I say, they all say now playing, but I'm usually tweeting the tweet at the end of like the whatever I'm listening to. So I kind of have all my thoughts organized and stuff. So, I haven't really like noticed that though, but I do actually. But as far as like themes and stuff, I don't really know. I don't have. Do I have like? Is there like? Do I tweet about the same 5 things over and over again, or like?
No, I guess when I say themes, I mean like, for instance, these music reviews. Like it's something you've done, and you do it again, and you do it again. And if I were to tweet a review at all like that, it would just be like a spur of the moment, like, I really want everyone to know what I think about this. And then maybe that would happen again in a few months. I wouldn't be like, oh, now I'm in my era of I'm going to do, a number of music reviews back to back or day after day or something. Like I don't plan things like that, right? I'm just like kind of all over the place. I don't think, oh, now I want to specifically do this thing. Not necessarily the same 5 tweets, but right now you're reviewing stuff. That's what you're doing. And like you've thought about that and it's intentional.
Sure. Yeah. So like what? So you never plan any tweets, like the Stranger Things thing didn't, like, how did that bit start? Like when you do a bit, like how does that how do you decide, like?
I am never more bothered by anything than when someone calls what I'm doing a bit, because it's not a bit. Because to me, a bit.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what a bit is. Like an ongoing thing, like.
So if you want to recall, again, I would call it a theme or a motif or just like a recurring thing. To me, a bit is like something that a comedian does that is planned out, like they've thought out. Like, for instance, to me, first of all, a bit is funny, or it's supposed to be funny, right? Like humor can be subjective. So like, for instance, if your tweets or your reviews about music were supposed to be funny, then I would call it a bit because it's planned out and intentionally you're thinking about. What I'm doing is just like yelling into the void, and it just so happens that sometimes it's about the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the consistency of it, and like the ongoing nature of it is what reads as it being a bit to me.
Okay.
So that's what I mean when I said the word bit. But I
gotcha.
What's the anatomy of these things for you? Like, what's the philosophy besides behind them?
I don't know that there's a philosophy. I mean, maybe because you had mentioned one, like for some reason, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I feel like when I said this the second time, or when I tried to check for understanding, you told me I was wrong. But my understanding at some point was that part of this episode was we were going to rank each other's worst bits. And so maybe if you tell me what you think my worst bits are, I can try to break them down for you and like give you the philosophy or anatomy behind them.
Okay, yeah. I did say I wanted to, at least on my end, rank your like top 3 or top 5, like my least favorite bits.
See, and that to me in and of itself is insane, because even if you argue I have bits, I would argue I don't even have more than 5. So but you're basically saying is all of the bits are just garbage, and I'm going to rank in what order the garbage comes out.
Yeah, I did originally plan on like ranking my top 3 or 5 least favorite poli-sci Alex Twitter gags, or whatever you want to call them, or however you want to label them. Would Twitter gag be a better term?
Maybe, yeah. I'm fine. I think, it's semantics, and the way you're defining bit is not the way I'm defining bit. So if we're defining it your way, then yeah, sure, I do bits on Twitter.
Okay. But since like we kind of spontaneously decided to record this today, I didn't give myself the opportunity to actually sit down and rank them.
I do want to say for our listeners that I have a chat of you saying, yeah, I could rank your 5 pretty easily, so I don't think it should be too hard for you to get some, throw 5 out at me.
Yeah, I think at the time I was more confident in reaching 5, but I think I can whittle it down to 3 because
okay.
I can't really think of 2 more. But I guess they're not really in any order. But yeah, my 3 least favorites are mommy tweets, diarrhea tweets, and then Stranger Things tweets, I guess.
Okay.
Those are the 3 main ones. I feel like those are the most, I don't want to say popular, but those are the most ubiquitous, I guess.
Okay.
Mommy tweets have sort of died off, I guess.
Well,
I don't know, per my request or...
Yeah, I mean, we had I would call it a semi-heated conversation around the mommy tweets, so I kind of laid off of them. But then, again, so my philosophy behind the mommy tweets is that I think, like, they make me laugh. Like, I think the first one, I was just sitting there, and I, like you say, like, the diarrhea bit and the mommy tweets, and to me, they are the same bit. Yeah. And it's like...
There's been some crossover episodes, for sure.
Yeah.
That is really upsetting.
And so I, like, have these diarrhea things, right? And I'm like, well, I need to take it to the next level. And so, like, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, well, I can't just keep saying diarrhea. So I'm like, okay, what if there's, like, this kid who has diarrhea and he's got to tell his mom about it, but it's like an afterthought, like, oh, mommy, I just, I don't know, ate Skittles and I've got diarrhea. I'm sorry. Like, and so I think that's hilarious. Like, I think in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a fucking genius. And so I tweet it. And then people, you, and not just you, get annoyed by it. I'm like, oh, great, I've got people's attention. So I start coming up with more and more. And like, at first it's to annoy people, but then I will, get bored and be laying in bed and I'll go back and read through them all. And I'm just like busting out laughing. I'm like, oh my God, these are so funny. And so I just keep doing them. So at a certain point, it stops being about annoying you and just more about like making myself laugh hysterically.
Yeah, I understand that. And honestly, I do applaud those tweets because, like, in a way, because of they do seem really composed and like there definitely seems like there's an intended idea and format behind them. Like you said,
right.
Like you wanted to you said, what if there was a character that was like getting diarrhea and was telling his mom after the fact as like an afterthought,
Well, exactly.
That's pretty inventive, I guess.
Yeah, and then like especially at the beginning of season 4, it shifted to, okay, I like to imagine we have this listener, he's like a middle schooler, he's listening to our pod, and then something embarrassing happens, and then he goes and tells his mom, like, oh, mommy, I was listening to the Zeitgeist Lab, and they talked about juggalos, and now I think I'm a juggalo fan. I'm sorry. Like, there's like a narrative that goes to it.
Yeah, okay, so like I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to clarify when I was really frustrated by the mommy tweets in a real way, because I do want to point out that and confess that I do find and have found these tweets to be very funny, but simultaneously just deeply upsetting. And
Okay.
I still hate them with a vengeance. But
Okay.
but I don't know if I used the word vengeance correctly there.
I don't either. I'm not sure.
I don't think I did. I hate them with a passion.
Okay.
I do recognize that they are really funny. And but what did truly bother me, and this is I think this might have been the heated discussion you might have been referencing. Yeah, any of my like true frustration was when they were being used to promote our podcast. I felt like this was my season, and I really wanted to be promoting it in a way that I agreed with, and, that I felt was appropriate. So when it leaked into the podcast itself and promoting it, that's when I really did not. I truly did not approve, and that did frustrate me. But
and that all just boiled down to like, I had it in my head that we have to have a tweet that goes with the episode that drops, and it has to come out at the same time as it drops, because if you wait 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours a day or whatever, then you're losing the potentiality of people seeing it and making it fresh. So Podbean gives me that option. I'm like, well, I've only got like 100 words, and I have no fucking idea what to say. So I'm like, oh, okay, how about a mommy thing? Because I find that fucking hilarious, and it still ties into whatever the episode was about.
Yeah, no, I can see why you would like get that idea and do that. Like, I know you weren't doing that like to like piss me off specifically or anything like that, but yeah, that's when like I already had my feelings about the mommy tweets. So when I went into promoting the pod itself, I was like, oh, this is even worse. This is crossing the line for me now. But yeah, no, I and then when you were like, there was that like 2-week period where you were just like really, really like going crazy on our Twitter with like retweeting random stuff.
Right, and that's what led to the heated conversation I'm remembering. With the promotion thing, you had said, like, you had tweeted like, please stop this. I'm serious, by the way. And then you like DM me and were like, I'm serious, can you please stop doing this? I was like, oh yeah, sure, fine, okay. Like, to me, I mean, that was all over text message basically. So if it was heated, I had no idea. I was like, well, okay, Brian said please stop doing this, I'll stop doing it.
Okay, yeah, the timeline of that period of time, I guess, is like really fuzzy for me, because that was not a good time for me. But yeah, no, the retweeting and stuff, that was also really frustrating. But like, it was just more mind-boggling than anything. I was like, why is he doing this? Like, there was like a 2-week period where you were just like going on like a full-on assault on Twitter. And it was mommy tweets this, diarrhea tweets that, retweet someone's entire timeline.
Right.
I remember like, and then like, I just got really awkward about like the retweeting stuff, because it was like you're retweeting random people, and like, they're gonna wonder like who we are and like why are you doing that, and then but the one time that like seriously made me laugh, like I literally did laugh out loud at this.
Okay.
I was going through our feed. Like I went to our profile. I was like going through all the past tweets, and I like was noticing all these retweets and stuff. And I slowly put it together in my head that you had gone to Turnstiles, literally retweeted everything Turnstile had on.
That's correct. Yes, and you never mentioned. So like, I guess he just missed that.
No, like what that actually did, that when I noticed that, I was slowly piecing it together as I was scrolling.
Nice.
That's fucking brilliant. That's really funny. See, of all people, with the Turnstiles Twitter page to like retweet everything they did. Like,
exactly.
That I thought that actually did make me really giggle. Like,
that's funny, because and when I did that, because that was after you had kind of hinted about how annoyed you were. So when I did that, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm pushing it too far. Like, maybe this is what's just going to make him absolutely freak out, is that it appears that we're retweeting Turnstile.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that like made me giggle profusely. Just because like I was like, I had to slowly piece it together as I was scrolling. No, he literally just went to their profile and just retweeted everything.
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know what led to all of that. That was like a 2-week period of just absolute chaos.
It comes like, so I always will tell my son, like, if someone's picking on you, like they want your reaction. Like, don't give them the reaction they want, because then they double down on it. So like, I'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna go retweet a bunch of shit. Ha 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 ha. And then the next morning I wake up and see that you're like, Alex, are you okay? I just noticed you retweeted half of Twitter. I'm like, ooh, a reaction. So then I just start doing it over and over. It's like I exist to be annoying. Like, I'm aware of this. It's not something I'm particularly proud of all the time. It's like, when I know I'm starting to poke something, like, I just have to keep poking.
Yeah, and that's like the difference between myself and not just you, but a lot of people that have been in my life over the years that like I have not historically got along with. And like, I'm not saying like this is a point of like tension between us or anything like that, but like this but I think this is explains why it like bothers me. It's like I'm just not that kind of. There's like, I mean, I don't know if it's like maybe there's just two different kinds of people in this world. People that do find pissing people off really funny in like a personal way, and then people that would just rather kind of live peacefully and not be bothered by things like that. And I feel like there's definitely been a lot of people in my life who seem to like get off on annoying people in that way and making them mad, and then the more mad, the funnier it is.
Right.
I've never been that kind of person. I've always been on the other side of that, and like, yeah, running into that, not even on the internet of all places too, makes it even more frustrating. I think that's why I've like reacted really like negatively.
Well,
but
I think
there's still a part of me that does, know that it's funny and has found the humor in other people being angry for sure. But it's not something I engage in on any level on a regular basis or any kind of time.
I think it's interesting too, because so much of the time, from my standpoint, when you start to get frustrated or upset or however you want to word it, and like you'll talk about like, oh, I know I'm tweeting to an audience of 0, or no one wants to see this, or whatever. And so now I know that you are very intentioned on what you're doing on, I mean, we'll call it your Twitter for right now because it's the only Twitter you have. And you see part of the goal of that as some sort of promotion for us, or like getting people interested in what we're doing, which I definitely think is part of the goal. But to me, I'm like, I don't know. I just see social media as like this wasteland of bullshit. So I'm just going to, again, just like vomit all over the timeline, essentially.
Sure. Yeah. And like, I've always like used social media in, I guess, a different way. Like, just because I have so much, unfortunately, I just have so much time in my life that I just kind of rely on social media to just get me through the day. Like spend way too much time looking at my phone. But I don't know. So just to flip sides here. What do you like? Yeah, what do you overall think about like my half of our Twitter? Like, what bothers you about like, or what has historically bothered you about my tweeting from our Twitter?
Historically, let's see. I am bothered by the recurring theme of like, I know I'm tweeting to an audience of 0. Like, I find that
I don't say that as like no one cares about me or anything like that. I just know that no one else cares about this, but that's fine. Like, right. I'm going to tweet about this anyway.
That makes more sense, I guess, because the first time, and maybe you've done this for a long time, and I've just never noticed it, but the first time I noticed you saying, I know I'm tweeting to an audience of 0, was like in the midst of all my retweeting and diarrhea stuff. So I thought you were implying like that I had driven literally everyone away from looking at anything we were tweeting.
Oh, no. I don't that was the case at all.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, I just know that the things I happen to like and tweet about, especially lately, have been, I guess, esoteric in the sense that like I don't know anyone in our audience that also likes power violence, for example. So
right.
But yeah, oh, and then again, like, and I mentioned this in one of our vlogs too. When I do like react to like you being annoying and stuff like that, like I'm like a lot of it's me just playing it up in a way because like I said this in my I responded to your say anything video. I don't know if you like watched that one.
I watched part of it and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know I was gonna have to like defend my vlogs going forward because you're like going and like it's not like you tore me apart and you just like expressed your thoughts on it. And I was like, all right, our vlog's gonna become like a debate session at points, or
No, I don't. I hope not. But like,
right?
um, you just kind of gave me an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that particular video. Maybe there will be a video that I feel the need to respond to, or the other way around. But
Right.
that's not something I would, intend.
Gotcha.
Um, but no, I said at the end of that video, that like, yeah, we like, joke like the way like our dynamic works in a lot of ways is like, yeah, we don't get along on the timeline, but it's funny.
Right.
Like I feel like that's an important part of our dynamic
think,
as podcast hosts is that one annoys the other one,
mm-hmm.
and that's like become its own little bit. So I like to play up how annoyed I get. I think,
right.
even though it does bother me, and I recognize the humor in it, but I like to kind of not exaggerate it, but like animate it, I guess, if I can.
Yeah, and I think you do good at that, and that's kind of how I always thought it was. But there have been a couple of times where I'm like, I don't know if it's a mix of you overreacting and me just being too much of me. It probably is, but if anything, it's just me being too much of myself. But the two times I can think of where I'm like, oh, maybe it's not always all in good fun are one, like all the retweeting and mommy tweets, and then two, I think right in between seasons 2 and 3, a series of like me basically bashing on the Green Bay Packers seemed to set things off for a little while.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but yeah, I could see why. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I ever like do like find something particularly like harmful in some way or something to me, like, I'll definitely DM you about it or talk to you about it on Zoom or something like I've done in the past. But yeah, I don't really foresee that happening in the future, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what else about what other observations do you have about my side of our Twitter?
The only other thing I would say that's bothered me lately is the what I would call alarming amount of retweets of Henry Winkler with fish, and it baffles me.
Oh, and then I'm gonna keep doing that then. As long as he keeps going on fishing trips.
And why does he say weird things like "my Mr. Brown"? Like it's just I find it kind of like how sometimes you'll retweet something I've said, like I lay awake thinking about this, or this is deeply disturbing. I find some of the things he says about fish to be deeply disturbing.
I don't know. I just love Henry Winkler. He's really good on that show Barry, which just ended its 3rd season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually watched the season finale, not knowing it was the season finale.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, I got to when it got to the ending, I was like, holy fuck, I can't wait to next week. And then I got on Twitter, and then Henry Winkler tweeted, that was the season finale of Barry, everyone. I was like, oh, fuck.
Nice.
But yeah, I wasn't specifically asking for what bothers you about my Twitter, my side of the Twitter. I was just asking, like, what other observations do you have? Like,
observations? I mean, I don't know that I have any necessary observations. Is there an observation I'm supposed to have, or is there something you were going for?
What other like thoughts do you have about my side of the Twitter? I just because we both use it so differently, so I'm really kind of. And I know this ended up being a very navel gazing episode, which I feel our audience wouldn't expect anything less at this point.
I mean, they've all heard the McRib episode, so this is really no different.
Yeah, this is like a spiritual sequel to the McRib episode, minus any food.
Damn.
Although I was eating a cookie on mic before, but
I ate a croissant, which would have been on mic if you hadn't dozed off before we were recording.
Oh, really? Nice. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. But yeah, I don't know. Like we use Twitter so differently. I think it's just kind of fascinating. Like how our tweet styles collide, and then
Yeah.
really chaotic account, I guess.
I don't know that I necessarily have any observations because I don't know what I'm supposed to observe. I've got a few things you do that I would say annoy me in the same way there's things I do that annoy you. Nothing that's like blatantly like, we need to fucking stop this. But I think it's an interesting study, and it's almost like a sociological study on like how can we coexist on this
Exactly.
Twitter
Yeah.
timeline, because like you said, we are not using it in the same way at all.
No.
And it's like, how do I tweet and tweet what I want to tweet and not get in your way or whatever that means, because I don't know how anything I want to do could possibly get in the way of what you're doing. But like, how do we kind of separate these things? And I every day and every time anything like this comes up, I thank God that your like signature Twitter style is all caps, so it's just blatantly obvious who's tweeting what.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I completely forgot about this. What I'm about to say. What I was originally, or not originally, but when I was thinking about what I wanted to bring to this episode, I got this idea about like a couple of days ago, and it just dawned upon me the other day how easy it is for one of us to like frame the other one.
Right, but we never have. There was like, one time you tweeted without caps, but you apologized for it and corrected it. So we've never gone into that category.
Yeah, but like it would be so easy for like, for example, like I could just like, what if I just tweeted like the N-word, or with like, capital but then lowercase, and then everyone would be like, "What the fuck? Poli-sci Alex is racist." It's like,
right.
Like, no, it was Brian. It was Brian. I was like, "Is it in all caps?" No.
Right.
We could easily like ruin each other's lives with our Twitter if we wanted to. But
right, mutually assured destruction.
Right, which is actually the name of a current hardcore band that I do not enjoy.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that was a phrase. I just thought that was a band name.
No, I remember the way I know the phrase is from the season 1 or season 2 finale of Community. John Oliver's character says it to Chang.
Oh,
that's where I learned the phrase.
That's interesting. I learned something today about a show that I devoted a lot of my time to, so much, in fact, that I chose it as our second season.
Exactly. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess we've been going for like an hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is a not goodbye, but you won't hear our voices in podcast form
until the end of next month.
Yeah, I mean, or just not really as much. That's kind of the way I was thinking about it. I was, there's the podcast has grown in so many different ways. We have all kinds of irons in the fire to the point where the weekly episode is just one aspect of it. So
right, and it's
that's
just
why it's going away for an undetermined amount of time. But yeah, it'll be back eventually with season 5.
It feels weird to me because, so I'll say this. I will say that it is purely out of a desire to be able to do nothing and have no obligation. And the seasons are certainly that. And part of it is enjoyable, such as every time you and I get on to record. And part of it, I'm just like, oh my God, like it feels like I've got this deadline of editing and I've got to edit. So it's just like this desire to do nothing mixed with like busyness in life. But I don't want anyone listening thinking like, I don't want to do this, or like Brian and I aren't friends or whatever. But then as I'm saying these things, I'm like, how stupid is this? Like, how many people are listening that actually care what the reasonings are, or like are invested in what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. But I try to think about that because like in my head, this is like a really important thing that is in my life.
Right.
I devote a lot of my time to, and it's a really a big thing for me in the sense that it's given me a lot to do. So like I feel like this has been a very, really important project for me in my life because I've been sitting at home doing nothing for how long now. So
I will say it's the longest project I've ever done, like longest creative project. Like I've recorded music, produced like DIY type bands when I was in high school. I've done other little things, but I've never done 85 or 90 of anything aside from this podcast. So, I mean, yeah, I think we both poured a lot of our time and creativity into it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad that that we have so many different ideas going on. With it. I'm glad we've able to like grow the amount of content in these various forms, whether it's through the Patreon and now the vlog and our episodes of Jordan and then the main podcast feed itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, the Twitter presence and everything like that. I didn't see it that way when we first started. I didn't think, I didn't really know what the future had in store for us when we first
started. I had no idea.
Yeah. The only thing that that's left for us to do, I think, that to improve on, I guess, is growing the audience, but neither one of us know how to do that.
It comes in waves.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know. This is goodbye for now, but you won't get rid of us that easy. We'll still be in your Twitter feed on a daily basis, so don't you worry about that.
Mommy, the Zeitgeist Lab pod is going on hiatus and I've got diarrhea. I'm sorry.